Let's bring in Bret Baier. Let's get to see what Bret has to say about this. Bret, thanks for getting to us. I know this is a huge breaking story, but in your opinion, does this deal, this guilty plea, does it end the whole thing?
No, I don't think so. I think the Bidens wanted to end the whole thing. The DOJ is setting it up to... it doesn't really follow policy or precedent here, Stu. If you look at these charges, some of these the gun charge should be a felony. Traditionally, other people have faced that with a minimum of 5 years in prison, which is pretty amazing because it's use of a gun in the distribution or selling of drugs at the time. So there is a specific statute that deals with that. It's not happening here. That charge is actually being diverted, thrown away, and there's 2 misdemeanor charges on taxes. So there'll be a lot of criticism on Capitol Hill on this. What doesn't go away is the investigation into the alleged bribery scheme, and the Republicans say there is more and more evidence every day, and they're following the money. The DOJ and the U.S. Attorney in Delaware, after 4.5 years, if this is the end of their investigation, they will get a lot of heat on that.
I'm sure they will. All right, Bret, let's get to your exclusive interview with Donald Trump last night. What's the most important takeaway from your conversation with him? What stuck out to you?
Well, the fact that he went as detailed as he went on the indictment and the handling of those classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Stuart, when I walked into that, I frankly expected him to say, listen, I can't talk about any of this and, try a couple of times and move on. But I asked a few questions based on what's in the indictment, and he really, engaged. And I don't know if his lawyers liked that engagement or not. We have another part of the interview tonight that deals with the U.S. economy, his thoughts about taxes and regulations, the U.S. debt, and COVID. It's fascinating. He answers every question. And at the end, I asked him, did you feel like this was a fair interview? And he said yes. He also said he didn't like a couple of the questions, but he said it was fair.
He was very articulate and calm all the way through. That's the way I saw it. But I want to go back to play the sound bite where you asked him about his stance on China and Taiwan. Roll that tape, please.
If China invaded Taiwan, would you go to war to defend Taiwan?
I don't want to say that because that hurts me in negotiations with regard to President Xi. Now, he knows what I do. And by the way, for 4 years, they didn't invade Taiwan. And they never even talked about it.
Bret, we should point out that Secretary of State Antony Blinken, he told President Xi that we do not support Taiwan independence. That's causing uproar around the world today because it seems like we've caved.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like that. And, this policy, it's really interesting to hear the former president talk about it. He talked about it a lot differently at the beginning of 2016 before he became leader of the free world. Now he understands, I think, the nuance here, and he talks about the negotiations that have yet to come if he gets back in the Oval Office. And he talked about that with Russia as well, things that he said would not have happened had he been behind that desk and making the phone calls.
He seemed to look back a lot to the 2020 and even the 2016 election. He was looking backward a lot. A lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah, and we had a back and forth on the 2020 election, obviously, but I was trying to get him to focus and to answer the question about how does he reach out to independent female suburban voters who perhaps left him in 2020 and they are a hard no now. And he says he's confident that he can win them back. We'll see.
He actually replied to that question by going, no, I won in 2020. He actually said that.
Yeah.
Going right back there.
And I said, no, you didn't.
Yes, you did. That's right. A great interview. It was really gripping. Bret, I just want to run a preview of the second part of your interview with Trump, which will air tonight. Roll that tape, please.
So if voters are concerned about the debt, why should they believe you'll address the debt in another term?
I love the question because we had to fix a country. When I took this country over, it was broken. And we created a machine. And the oil was starting. We were energy independent. We were within 4 months of energy dominance. We were going to be supplying all of the natural gas and oil to Europe, all of it as far as I was concerned. Bret, we were going to make so much money. Now everything was set. Then we got the COVID.
All right, Bret, is there anything else you can tell us about what's coming up tonight?
Well, it's fascinating. He talks about COVID. He talks about why he doesn't talk about COVID on the campaign trail, and it's really amazing. He also goes after Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, very specifically, and he says, "Why am I going to go after him? Because he's number 2, and he's the closest to me."
You've done some extremely high-level interviews throughout your life. Mind if I ask you if you were at all nervous going into the interview with Donald Trump?
It's weird, Stuart. I had this kind of calm that I was trying to be as calm as I could be because I knew it was going to be some back and forth. And sometimes you have to get a question in on the breath. You've dealt with the former president. But we really had an interesting conversation. And it was very engaging. And afterwards, we talked. I think, I mean, I wanted to get it right. I wanted to get the tone right. But I wasn't really nervous. I thought it would come out in the end.
Well, you got it right, Bret. It was spectacular. And we'll be watching again tonight. That's a guarantee. 6 p.m. Eastern only on Fox News. Thank